Hey everyone, it's Elizabeth here. So I'm just doing a quick video as today I will leave Porto, Portugal to start my first day of hiking on the Camino, which I'm just going to take a train a little bit up north to Vila de Pinheiro, if I'm saying that right, and then going to my first stop in Arcos. So this lighting doesn't look great. I mean, obviously this is not a beauty video here, so I mean, I'm looking at myself and I'm like, oh my god, I look horrible. But anyways, you know, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Porto and its people. You know, my ex and I fell in love with this place 3 years ago when we came here in October of 2015, and there's a reason why. It's just absolutely a beautiful historic place. But the sad thing is you know, Porto is changing. The whole Western world is changing, and what I've noticed is that the city is under so much construction and everything is just becoming so much more modern and so much more fancy. And I don't know, I think I have a little bit of like sadness and grief toward this, because the affluency that's happening in Western civilization, it's just really pushing out the middle class to where we're becoming so extreme from, you know, the top end affluent, you know, kind of these liberal elites, and then you have the working class, which is now almost like the poor working class, or lower middle class. And so yesterday I stopped in a couple artist shops. One, if you've been watching any of my videos, I wanted to buy and find the ceramic shop that sold these little swallow birds, and the swallow is an important symbol of the Portuguese culture, and it's a bird, it's a family bird. So it is interesting when you really look at a lot of these Southern European cultures. I guess I would lump Portugal in there with Spain and Italy and Greece, kind of the more Mediterranean cultures, probably especially Southern France. They're very, very family-orientated cultures, and you know, it makes me sad because a lot of America, we've lost a lot of touch with our family or our family values, or we, you know, I've been there, we're just such shitheads to our parents. And here there's just so much more respect for the elderly, and it just, people stay together. And so this one artist shop I went to find the swallow necklace, it's a brother and a sister that own it. And so, you know, the sister is the more creative artist, and the brother still is an artist, but a little more technical. And I spoke with him and another woman from another artist shop, and what they're saying, the things that are happening in Porto, is that the locals are getting pushed out from the historic Central District. And some of these families have lived in these same kind of apartments or just in the Central Historic District for generations. And what's happening is that these developers, the tourism is increasing in Porto. One of the reasons why my ex and I loved this place, in addition to the beauty, is that it was so much attached to the Portuguese culture, and there really wasn't, you know, there were like no Americans here. It was great because you would meet, you know, other Europeans, but it was just a very cute and quaint Portuguese place. And now I think a lot of these bigger cities like Barcelona, Paris, London, they're becoming so globalized that they're losing their identity and their roots to their culture. And so you're starting to find a lot more cultural identity when you start to go to these mid and small sized cities. So, you know, a lot of the couple Portuguese people I spoke with, they're like, you know, we don't hear Portuguese anymore. We're hearing Chinese or English or French. And in order to get a job, even at one of these shops in the central part of Portugal, you have to know more than just English and Portuguese. You have to know Russian, you have to know French, you have to know German. So these poor people are not only getting pushed out from where they live, they're going out to, you know, the suburbs where they have to take a 40 to 60 minute train ride in. But now, in order to even qualify for a job that should be a little more better paying, from what I understood from them, you know, working in downtown Central District, is your requirements are so much higher because you have to know these various languages in order to talk to the tourists. And so to me, it's just really interesting, but it's also really sad because they're saying, you know, tourism on one end is bringing a lot of money. That's great. The other end of it, it's making life a lot more tough for the local people because they can't afford lattes, and they can't afford, you know, eating out where your meal is 12 to 15 euro. Portugal or Porto was so affordable. It still is, but like, I don't know, I just remember going to places and buying like a latte for 1 or 2 euro, and now it's like 4 or 5. I'm like, fuck, this is like Rome prices. And, you know, I guess I don't blame it, but it's kind of funny because Rua de Flores, it's one of the most prominent streets in Porto. It has always kind of had like a more higher end shopping. It's just things are getting even more higher end, more higher value, more fancy, more modern, more chic than it even was 3 years ago. So I don't know, I'm just not a huge fan of this modern culture because everything just looks the same. There's nothing attractive about a neon sign on the front of the store that says the store's name. So I don't know, I guess I just wanted to make this because I think it's part of my grieving process that I've had the last few years. I mean, I lived in Germany between 2014 and 15, and Germany has changed. When you change the demographics of a city or a country, the lifestyle and the culture is going to change. What I think we're going to see a lot more of are a lot of cultural clashes, and this is going to be a big problem in Europe because they've lived in these certain cultures for thousands of years with their own language, their own customs. And I think people, you know, there's a lot of people that say like, oh, you know, I'm a global citizen. And like, yeah, we all are. But like the reality is, if you want the world to remain diverse, you have to preserve culture. I can't tell you how many signs I've seen in English here in Porto that are marketing. It's like, what the fuck? Are we gonna lose all identity toward our languages to where we're all going to be speaking English and eating McDonald's? I mean, I very much, when I went to India in 2007 to study yoga, I was very much against Walmart moving into India because I'm like, it's going to wipe out their entire community of people that, you know, the guy that makes $5 a month by selling fruit or rose water at his little stand or stall in town. And anyways, I don't know, you know, the Portuguese people are just so sweet. I got off the train station and a guy saw my backpack and he goes, "Buen camino." And it's so cute. I mean, obviously it was a stereotype because I had a backpack on, but he had no clue that I was a pilgrim. But it was obviously apparent by my appearance with a backpack that I was a pilgrim with hiking shoes on. And I don't know, it was just so sweet for this random man to come up to me and approach me and just say that. And I think there's just something so sweet about Europeans, but probably specifically Portugal. I don't know, but I guess these are just some thoughts. I really, really, really feel for the working class because I am the working class. And even in Seattle, I just hear people that come from places like Ohio and Iowa, and they just absolutely shit on middle America. And I think this is such a disgusting attitude to have. And I think part of this Camino trip is just like letting me express the voice that I want. You know, yes, they might be a little more unconscious than the West Coast and this, that, and the other, but a lot of these people are doing these shit jobs that you don't have to do in the West Coast or the East Coast at, you know, a more white-collared job where you're typing in tech code and stuff like that. So anyways, these are some thoughts. I'll speak to you guys soon. I will see you on the trail in a little bit later today. Bye.